It's 4:12 a.m. when the screaming stops. That's the part nobody talks about, not the screaming itself. Every man in Harrow Penitentiary has learned to sleep through that. It's the silence after that wakes you up. The kind of silence that has weight. The kind that presses down on your chest like a hand that doesn't want you to breathe too loud. You lie on your back in cell block D, staring at the water stain on the ceiling you've memorized over 14 months. 14 months, 11 days. You know the exact number because counting is the only clock you have left. Your cellie, a quiet man named Rourke who did armed robbery in 3 states, is already awake too. You can tell by his breathing. Neither of you say anything. You both heard it, the dragging sound that came before the silence. You close your eyes and tell yourself it's nothing. By morning, you know it wasn't nothing. Breakfast is powdered eggs and silence. The guards move differently today. You notice it the way you've learned to notice everything in here, not by looking directly, but by watching the edges of things. Guard Finch won't make eye contact with anyone. Sergeant DeLuca keeps touching the radio on his hip like he's checking it's still there. The new transfer officer, the young one with the crooked name tag that says BITT, looks like he hasn't slept at all. Someone is gone. You don't ask who. Asking questions in Harrow is the fastest way to become the answer to someone else's question. You eat your eggs, you drink your coffee, you watch. By the time the afternoon count happens, you already know. Inmate 4417, Marcus Webb, a 43-year-old man who was serving 6 years for fraud, soft-spoken, never caused trouble. Used to save his dessert for a kid 2 cells down who had a sugar problem he'd brought in from the outside. Marcus Webb is not in his cell, and nobody is saying why. You're not supposed to be anywhere near the administrative corridor. Your work assignment is the laundry facility, 8 hours of steam and noise that leaves a ringing in your ears that doesn't quit until midnight. But 3 days after Marcus Webb disappears, a pipe bursts in the east maintenance hallway, and you're part of the emergency crew pulled to run towels and seal bags to the affected area. That's when you see it. You almost walk past it, a door left open 2 inches. Inside, the warden's private office, not the public one where he meets with lawyers and oversight boards, but the secondary one, the real one, tucked behind a corridor that most inmates don't know exists. You've heard about it. You assumed it was prison mythology, the kind of story that gets passed around because men in cages need to believe there are rooms they haven't been allowed to see yet. Through the 2-inch gap, you see a filing cabinet, open, and a folder on the desk, face up, with a name written in red marker across the tab. Webb M. Transfer Protocol 9. You keep walking, you don't stop, you don't look back, but your heart is doing something it hasn't done since the night you were arrested, running without permission, slamming against your ribs like it's trying to get out before the rest of you figures out what just happened. Transfer Protocol 9 is not a thing. You know every official transfer process in Harrow. You've watched enough men move through the system, to other facilities, to medical, to early release, to know the language, the paperwork, the timeline. None of it includes something called Protocol 9. You spend the next week being very, very careful. You talk to Rourke about nothing. You talk to the men at your workstation about nothing. You do your hours, you eat your meals. You attend the mandatory group session on Wednesday evenings, where a therapist named Dr. Vasquez asks everyone how they're feeling and nobody tells her the truth. You feel the walls of this place differently now, like they're not just concrete, like they're listening. On the 8th day, an old man named Carver, who has been in Harrow for 22 years and knows everything about everyone, sits next to you at the outdoor recreation hour and says, very quietly without looking at you, Webb isn't the first. You say nothing. 3rd one in 4 years, Carver says. All quiet men, all model inmates, all gone on a night when it rained. You look up at the sky, clear and pale blue. It rained Tuesday, you say. Carver nods once, gets up, walks away. You start tracking the rain. It sounds insane. You know it sounds insane, but you've got nothing but time and a brain that won't stop moving, and something Carver said has locked itself into a part of your mind that won't let go. You start keeping notes in the margins of a paperback novel, your own shorthand, meaningless to anyone else. You track the weather. You track the guard rotations. You track which prisoners are visibly anxious and which ones have gone suddenly, suspiciously calm. Calm is the tell. You figure that out by week 3. The men who disappear aren't the violent ones. They're not the troublemakers. They're the ones who, a few days before they vanish, become eerily still, cooperative, agreeable, like something has been decided about them that they don't know yet, and the decision is radiating off them like heat. You wonder if you've ever looked that calm to someone else. The warden's name is Gerald Harwick. You've seen him twice in 14 months. Once during the intake orientation, when he gave a 7-minute speech about dignity and rehabilitation that nobody believed. Once in the corridor outside the infirmary, walking fast, talking into a phone, not looking at anything but the middle distance in front of him. He is a tall man with a stillness about him that doesn't feel earned. The kind of stillness that comes from never having had to be afraid of anything in a room. You learn his schedule the way you've learned everything else, by watching the edges. He arrives at 7:45 a.m. He leaves between 5:30 and 6:15 p.m. On Fridays he stays late. On the nights it rains, he stays very late. You know you're getting close to something you can't unknow. You cross that line anyway. The prison library is open 4 days a week, 2 hours per session. Most men don't use it. You've become a regular, which means the officer who monitors it, a bored, heavyset man named Pryor who reads fishing magazines and considers watching inmates turn pages a form of active supervision, has stopped paying attention to you entirely. That's when you find the article. It's an illegal database. The library technically isn't supposed to have public access to. Someone made an error during the system upgrade 2 years ago and nobody caught it. 14 minutes of careful navigation, a name search, Gerald Harwick, and then an older name, Harwick Correctional Consulting Group, dissolved 2019. Clients listed in the dissolution filing: 3 private prison contractors, 2 state-contracted medical providers, and 1 organization whose name is an acronym you don't recognize. But the address listed for that organization is a building you do recognize, because it's the same building listed in the intake paperwork every prisoner in Harrow signs on their first day, the administrative headquarters of the State Correctional Authority. Harwick isn't just the warden. He's been selling something to the people who are supposed to be watching him. You sit with that for a long time. You eat dinner, you shower, you lie on your bunk and stare at the water stain and listen to Rourke's breathing and feel the specific weight of knowing something that could get you killed pressing down on your sternum. You think about Marcus Webb, about his dessert habit, about the way he used to hum quietly when he thought no one was listening, old songs, nothing you could ever name, but something about the sound of it made the cell block feel slightly less like a cell block. You think about the 2 men before him, whose names you still don't know. You think about what you're going to do. Doing nothing is a choice. You understand that now in a way you never did before Harrow. Silence is a decision. Staying safe is a strategy. Every man in here who has ever looked away from something wrong has made a calculation, survival weighed against conscience, and come to a conclusion they can live with. You try to make that calculation. It doesn't balance. There is one person in Harrow you trust at a level slightly above 0. Her name is Advocacy Officer Sandra Reis. She comes in on Tuesdays and Thursdays, runs the prisoner legal assistance program, and has the particular kind of exhausted honesty that comes from caring about something for 20 years inside a system designed to wear caring down. She is not naive, she is not soft, she has watched too much to be either. You request a legal consultation. Routine, nobody looks twice at that. You sit across from her in the consultation room with the scratched plexiglass divider and the 2 cameras mounted in opposite corners, and you say very carefully, "I need to talk to someone about something I can't talk about here." She looks at you. She's been doing this long enough to understand exactly what that sentence means. "Write it down," she says. "Keep it in 2 places, don't tell me where." She closes her folder. The meeting is over, 40 seconds. You walk back to Block D with your hands steady and your mind moving at a speed that doesn't have a name. Over the next 3 weeks, you build the file. Not a real file. You have no access to printers, no ability to retain documents, no secure storage of any kind. But you build it in your head, layered and indexed, and you write fragments of it in the margins of 4 different books using 4 different systems of notation. You are meticulous. You are patient. You are terrified in a clean, focused way that actually makes you sharper. You identify 5 patterns: guard rotation anomalies on rain nights, medical log discrepancies, men signed out for transfer to external medical facility, with no corresponding intake record at any reachable institution, a payment structure buried in the consulting group dissolution, documents that suggests per capita compensation tied to something other than standard prison population metrics, Harwick's personal schedule mapped against the 3 disappearances. And one name, a state corrections official named Darnell Price, who appears in 2 different documents in ways that shouldn't connect but do. 5 threads, you hold all of them. You do not pull yet. The moment you've been dreading arrives on a Thursday. You're walking back from laundry when Sergeant DeLuca falls into step beside you, not aggressive, not threatening, just present, in the way a large thing is present when it wants you to know it could do something if it decided to. You've been using the library a lot, DeLuca says. I like to raid, you say. What are you raiding? Legal theory, you say. Appeals process, dry stuff. DeLuca nods slowly. Warden likes inmates who invest in their rehabilitation, he says. Makes a note of them, positive note. A beat. Negative note too, when someone gets curious about things that aren't their case. You look straight ahead, just working on my appeal, you say. DeLuca peels off at the next corridor. You keep walking, your hands are steady, your face is neutral. Inside, something has shifted permanently. They know you've been looking. You have maybe a week, possibly less. You think about Carver, about what it means that he's been here 22 years and is still alive. Either he knows the line and has never crossed it, or he has something Harwick needs. You consider which one is true and what either answer means for you. You think about the file in your head, about whether it's enough, about who outside these walls would actually care, actually have the standing and the will to do something with it, and how many of them Harwick has already insulated himself from through Price and the people above Price. You think about your release date, 8 months, 3 weeks, 2 days. You think about Marcus Webb. Sandra Reyes comes in on a Tuesday. You don't request a consultation. That would be too visible now. Instead, you check out a book from the library, a procedural legal text she recommended to you 6 months ago, before any of this, when you were still just a man doing time and nothing more. You return it to the library through the standard drop slot. Inside the back cover, pressed flat against the binding, is a single folded sheet from a legal pad. Names, dates, document references, locations within the library database, the consulting group filing number, Darnell Price, the 3 inmates, the pattern. 47 lines of handwriting, so small it requires attention to read. You have no way of knowing if she finds it, no way of knowing if she acts on it, no way of knowing if the system she works within is clean enough to carry it, or if it's already been compromised at the level where it would matter. You have done what you can do. So now you wait. The waiting is its own kind of violence. Days pass in the particular slow motion way they do when you're watching for something. Every guard who looks at you slightly too long, every unexpected schedule change, every meal where the routine shifts by a degree, you sleep in increments, you eat without tasting anything. Rourke, who has never asked you a direct question in 14 months of sharing 12 feet of space, says one night in the dark, whatever it is, be still. Still things are harder to catch. You don't respond, but you hear it. 11 days after you return the book, 2 things happen. The first, Darnell Price resigns from the State Corrections Authority. The announcement comes through a news alert on the library's public access terminal, 3 lines buried in a local government digest. No explanation given, effective immediately. The second, Warden Harwick does not come in on Friday or Saturday. By Monday, there is an acting administrator in his place, a woman named Chen who walks the facility like she's measuring it, taking notes, asking questions in a clipped professional voice that has no interest in being liked. Nobody tells you what happened, nobody tells anyone anything. But the silence is different now. It's not the heavy silence that presses down, it's the kind that follows a change in pressure, like the air after lightning before you've heard the thunder. Carver finds you at rec hour. He sits beside you without ceremony, looks out at the yard and says nothing for almost 4 minutes. Then you did something. You say nothing. It'll cost you, he says. Not now, but the system has a long memory. The people still inside it, the ones who know what Harwick was, they'll remember your face. I know, you say. Carver nods, but Webb's family might get an answer now, he says. That's not nothing. He gets up, he walks away. You sit in the thin institutional sunlight with 8 months and 3 weeks remaining on your sentence, and the knowledge that what you've done has made you visible in ways that don't disappear when the gates open. The people Harwick served are still out there. Price resigned, but resignation isn't accountability. The system that allowed this, that looked away, or actively looked somewhere else, is the same system you'll walk back out into. You're not a hero, you know that. You're a man who knew something he wasn't supposed to know, and made a choice that still might not have been the right one. But Marcus Webb used to hum songs in the dark that made the place feel slightly less like a cage. And someone should have to answer for that. Your release date is circled in your mind like a target. But you've been in here long enough to know that leaving a place doesn't mean the place leaves you. The file you built is still in your head, sharper than it's ever been, and there are names in it that haven't been touched yet. There are threads that Rios couldn't pull without more evidence, more time, more protection than a Tuesday-Thursday advocacy officer can carry alone. You already know what you're going to do when you get out. You're going to finish it. The Warden's secret didn't die with the Warden. It lives in every document he signed, every transfer he authorized, every rain-soaked night that ended in silence. It lives in the men whose names you still don't have. It lives in the institutions that funded it and the officials who looked away and the contractors who built a business model around human beings disappearing quietly. 8 months, 3 weeks. You've got time. You've always been good at waiting.